Good afternoon, everyone. We are pleased to have you present today to talk about the Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant. Many of you may be familiar with this grant. We applied in 2020, and fortunately, we were not able to receive this time, but we have another second chance, right? Why not go for a second chance? So, the Choice Neighborhood Grant, it will allow HABD and our partners to implement a plan to revitalize Smithfield Court, public housing, and the surrounding neighborhood. We're focused on keeping our residents first. Throughout the entire process, from conception to implementation, we need input and insight from our residents. We want to hear your voice. Our community partners, from our focus on neighborhood, housing, and people, we will be available to residents at Smithfield Courts, listening to resident ideas, your needs, and your questions and concerns. HABD has made progress with similar revitalization projects in other properties. Most recently, the Village at Titusville. That was our former Loveman Village. And this Choice Neighborhood Grant could empower the agency to do the same for the Smithfield Court community. What I want to do is just introduce you to our partners and our developers, but I will not share background. I'll allow them to do that when they come forward. So in this grant, we are the HABD is the lead applicant, and we have the City of Birmingham as a co-applicant. Our project partners, again, HABD, the City of Birmingham, Integral, LRK, Agency 54, United Way of Central Alabama, Live Health Smart Alabama, and the Ascent Project. So you'll hear from all of us today. So again, we welcome you and thank you for your participation in this event.
Good afternoon again. On behalf of Mayor Randall L. Woodfin, I bring you greetings, as well as on behalf of our Director of Community Development, Dr. Megan Venable Thomas, who's in the back there as well. We are so excited to be a part of this Choice Neighborhood Implementation Grant opportunity. It is very exciting for the city. This grant opportunity not only affects where you all are living now, the Smithfield housing development, but also this is an opportunity for us to improve and bring enhancements to the larger neighborhood, right? All the way from our roads to our libraries to all of the amenities that's in our neighborhood. So we are excited for this opportunity. And through this opportunity, we could be successful enough to gain $50 million from HUD to revitalize Smithfield. So I want you to know that this is a very important opportunity for the city, and we look forward to hearing a lot of the feedback from you all today during this meeting. How many of you all were at the meetings that we held in 2020? Okay, well then that's a good thing. I'm glad that we're having this meeting again. In 2020, a lot of the meetings all of the meetings were held virtually. We had to hold those meetings virtually because it was the height of the pandemic. But now we're fortunate enough that the pandemic has subsided a bit, and we have an opportunity to meet with you all in person so that we can really get a lot of feedback on what you want to see as it relates to new housing opportunities, as well as what do you want to see in the neighborhood. So I'm glad that you all went at that last meeting so that your voice can be heard in this meeting. So just to give a little context, the focus of this grant is around Smithfield, but it's the larger Smithfield community, right, which includes College Hills and Greymont. And so this targeted footprint encompasses everything from east of Lincoln School, all the way to Legion Field, all the way to College Hills, as well as Greymont. So our footprint is really large for this grant opportunity. And Smithfield is a perfect place for us to make this application because of the rich history of Smithfield that we'll get in a little bit more details later, as well as you can see on the screen here, all of the amenities from Legion Field, from the Bethel House that we're sitting in right now. This was a meeting place during the Civil Rights era. to the trails that we have in the neighborhood. So there's a lot of rich amenities and assets to this community that I really think that we should show off that we have here in Smithfield. And so we're excited about this opportunity. On this slide here, you can see more of those details. Parker High School, Legion Field again, and we'll get a little bit more in detail on what the city proposes to bring to the table in this partnership a little bit later on. But before we move on, I would like to bring up Councilor Darrell O'Quinn, who is the councilor for this district, for remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Darrell O'Quinn, I'm City Councilor for District 5. Just want to say how excited I am about this opportunity. The city has actually applied for this program before, and that was actually a learning experience for us. And we have a lot more partners at the table now. So all of the folks that are lining the outside of the room here are all involved, and it's really about in making a major investment in Smithfield, improving the housing and infrastructure and the amenities and the services that we provide to the residents. And it's my pleasure to help cheerlead this initiative. Mayor Woodfin and I were in Washington, D.C. Last Thursday. We met with both senators and several of the people on the House of Representatives side, and all of us were encouraging our congressmen to support this initiative, and I think we're well positioned for this. So Smithfield is on the rise. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nando Mikale. I am an architect and planner, and my company helps cities and housing authorities from around the country evaluate and submit for the Choice Implementation Grant. As was said earlier, there's three pillars to the Choice Grant. One is neighborhood, people, and housing. And once we break here, there are tables on each side of the auditorium that represent housing there, neighborhood there, and people on this side. And we're going to want to get input from you about what's needed in the community on those three pillars of the Choice application. So what is Choice? For those of you, I saw a couple hands that said that they had been to the meetings back in 2020, but basically the Choice Neighborhoods Initiative is looking to transform neighborhoods into viable, sustainable, mixed income neighborhoods. So allowing for all folks of different incomes to live together and to build community around housing improvements, neighborhood and service improvements, and general city infrastructure improvements. It's based on a program called Hope 6. The city of Birmingham had Hope 6 projects before. One of them was actually Park Place, which World Group at that time was the developer in transforming that part of the city of Birmingham. So we're really looking at transforming the community under those three pillars. These are more detail about those three pillars. So the neighborhood strategies that can be infill development, business development and retention, infrastructure improvements, neighborhood beautification, repurposing deteriorated structures, and generally improving neighborhood safety. People is really focused on education and giving folks in the neighborhood a lift up into growing their income, developing their education so folks can, is it not? Oh, thanks, sorry. Could you guys hear me? Okay, good. Thanks, Kari. So really looking at educational outcomes, increasing incomes, and providing health and improved services in the community. And then ultimately housing choice for everyone. So both focusing on rental housing, but also home ownership where that's possible. And then housing is focused on the redevelopment of the public housing site. so the redevelopment of Smithfield. And when we did that plan 2 years ago, it was saving this building and building a whole new community around it that had opportunities for all people of all incomes to live together. Repurposing existing structures is also part of it, as I mentioned, this building, but really creating market-driven housing. So housing that has sustainability thought into it, has accessible units, including amenities that you would find in many other market rate communities around Birmingham. And then ultimately provide all the services for that housing. So just to give you a little bit of structure, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. As was mentioned earlier, the neighborhood is being led by the city of Birmingham. The housing in partnership with HABD is the Integral Group and Rural Enterprises, which is a teamed developer. And then ultimately the people plan is being led by an affiliate of the Integral Group, which has done this type of planning, partnered with local entities, and the folks who are here today are UAB and United Way, but there'll be a list of other partners in that people plan to provide a range of services for the community. So I'm going to go through this very quickly. We had an organizational meeting in September. We're here in October. We're going to have 2 more meetings or series of meetings in November and December. And the deadline for submission is in January. So we are hitting the ground running, and we want to hear from you before we start to put pen to paper and develop those plans. We did do an assessment 2 years ago, but we're going to be redoing that to really understand the folks who live here now and what their needs are. And again, that data is going to be about health, education, employment, and housing. And we do need to hear from you. So you will have opportunities at the next meeting and through the leadership of Agency 54 and the rest of the partners here to fill out surveys as we move forward. What we heard last time was very interesting and informed what our application was last time. Education, providing all those wraparound services for kids to make sure that they stay out of trouble and advance in their education. On the health issue, more than half said that they were in good health, means that a little less than half say that there are health issues in this community. In terms of healthy living, which is actually a focus of UAB, 2/3 are interested in healthy living. And that's a really important thing as we develop the plans to wrap around the folks who live here and provide opportunities for that. Transportation, while a quarter rely on the bus, a quarter think the buses aren't servicing them well. And on the safety condition, as in many neighborhoods in the city at night, there's fear of safety in the neighborhood. Other input said the majority of people like living in this neighborhood, that this is a good neighborhood. So as we look at how to redevelop it, we'll definitely be looking at your input for taking the best parts of the neighborhood and enhancing them. And finally, since there's a majority of the population here at Smithfield are seniors, disabilities keep folks from actually engaging with the community.
And so as mentioned earlier, the city of Birmingham is taking on the lead of bringing enhancements to the neighborhood. So we are the neighborhood leader for this application. And our goal is really to bring investment, whether it's public or private investment, to this community. And we want to bring that investment so that we can bring more amenities and more options for your community. And what do those amenities look like? And we want you all to dream big. This is an opportunity for you all to dream big with us. I mentioned earlier that this is a $50 million grant opportunity. So if we are successful, which I believe we will be, this is an opportunity for us to bring some things that are not here right now, or even enhance things that we have. So that includes things related to safety, whether there are cameras that we can put along stops where our children are going back and forth from school, whether that's transportation stops, or whether that is a grocery store, right? Because the nearest grocery store is quite a ways from here. So those are things that we can bring to the neighborhood. Since 2020, we've still been doing a little bit of work with the funds that we have, and so we've paved like Center Street. We're able to do things like that, but we want to bring more opportunities. And so it's really venturing outside of Smithfield Court. And as mentioned earlier, these are some of the assets that we already have, but how can we improve our local school, our first black school in Birmingham, and make sure that we continue to preserve the school? How can we bring more recreation centers? We already have the Bethel House. How can we improve even this center that we're in right now? That's Parker High School. I'm sure you're all aware of that. And we have the Civil Rights Trail. How can we embolden that and maybe make that even larger and connect to a lot of the other trails that are across the city? That way people come to Smithfield, not only will they be able to stop in Smithfield, but they'll be able to visit the other trails across the city. Also, looking at Legion Field, I know a lot of you all may have questions as to, well, what's going to happen to Legion Field? I'll say that is something that the city of Birmingham, we're still working through what those options look like. But with this $50 million, there's an opportunity to dream big there. Maybe to dream big in seeing how can we place more recreation opportunities, more playing fields for our kids at Legion Field. Also, the Firehouse Station, which has been here for a couple of years now. This was one of the city's investments. But what are some other amenities like a firehouse that we can put within Smithfield? This is the Bethel House here, as I mentioned earlier, as well as our Smithfield Library. And so these are some of the things that we have right now, but with the funds that we could receive from this grant, we want to take these to the next level. So the only thing that I ask of you at this meeting today, when you go around and you look at the different boards, is to dream big and to think out of the box.
Good evening, everybody. I'm the people person who looks out for the people. We have been doing this work with communities for a long time. We look forward to being part of what you are about to step into, and we're going to be successful. We want to create for you not just education as in schools, but lifelong learning. We have seniors in some of our communities that we have done this work in that are now starting to have community gardens. We have seniors that have cake decorating classes and groups. We have seniors that have walking clubs. Learning never ends once you are committed to education that doesn't stop just when you leave school. So we start before school and we go on till you can't move anymore. So education, I invite you today to see education as a whole new way of living and learning until you don't have a brain anymore. So we are going to be looking after all the aspects of your health, your physical health, your mental health, and your social health. So we will be engaging the community with others and bringing in interesting and exciting activities. So for instance, in one of our communities, we have yoga, we have dance, and we have seat yoga. So whatever age, whatever path you're on, whatever level of wellness and fitness, we meet you where you are, because choice neighborhood means the neighborhood has to be a neighborhood of choice for everybody who lives there. So your grandchildren will want to come and hang out with you because they will be having a yoga class, and then you'll be having your chair yoga class. The fact is, we are going to ask you to dream a big dream, to say, if I could create a community that I would love to live in and love to have my family come to, my neighbors be the best neighbors, and to be connected to the bigger community, and then we're going to help you to make that dream come true. So, the people piece is going to be run by the Ascent Project. That's who we are. We will be here with you at your community meetings. Sometimes it might be by Zoom, but we believe in being present because people trust and invest in people. And so we're here with you, and we are going to be sure to be celebrating when we win this $50 million. And I'm sitting in the back with my program manager. Anybody has any questions, please come and ask us. And if you have questions and you have mobility issues, call Hope and I'll come to you.
Hello, it's good to see so many familiar faces. My name is Tiffany Osborne, and I am the Director of Community Engagement for the UAB Minority Health and Health Equity Research Center, and I also serve as a liaison with one of our signature projects called Live Health Smart Alabama, which I hope that you all have heard about, but we're going to certainly get you up to speed this evening. Anderson, who's in the very back of the room, he's a scientist. Dr. Fouad is not with us tonight, but he leads our built environment team. This is the group that is responsible for looking at some of the green spaces, areas for improvement, physical opportunities for improvement in your communities. As I mentioned, I'm the Director of Community Engagement. Paula Pino, I don't think she is with us tonight. She is Sustainable Cities Research Center, and Teresa Schuffelbarger is our Chief Administrative Officer, and Dr. Lamisha Chambers is with us tonight as well. So you may have heard of Live Health Smart Alabama, but if you have not, it started out as a grand idea. The University of Alabama at Birmingham, Dr. Ray Watts said, what can we conquer? What can we work on collectively? What's a huge idea we could work on? And so Dr. Mona Fouad put together an amazing team of individuals and said, we need to address Alabama's low health rankings, national health rankings. As you may or may not know, Alabama at the bottom when it comes to chronic disease, obesity, diabetes, vegetable consumption, fruit consumption, levels of physical activity. And so we thought, what can we do to get Alabama out of the bottom 10? We're known for so many other amazing things. We should be known for great, amazing health numbers as well. And so we're really working to lower the incidence of chronic disease in 4 areas to address, and you can see here on your screen, we're working hard to reduce obesity, high blood pressure, reduce diabetes, and reduce high cholesterol. Our approach is to focus on the keys to good health, which we believe are good nutrition, physical activity, and prevention and wellness. And we hope to be able to empower communities with choices that make good health simple. I know many of you, it's no secret, the easy option out is usually fast food. If you go to McDonald's, you can get a hamburger for $1, but you want a salad, it's going to probably cost you about $7. And we want to find ways to making the choice to be healthy much simpler and easier for communities that we're focusing on. But we want to increase the availability of nutritious food. And one of the ways we're doing that, I don't know if you saw it on your way in, our mobile market is actually parked outside right now. It is addressing barriers to transportation, also good and nutritious food in your area. So that mobile market drives around to areas and keeps you from having to drive to your grocery store. It comes to you. The grocery store comes to you, and it's packed with all kinds of healthy food options at a really good price point that makes it super affordable. We also want to make health screenings available, connect people with access to health care. It is so very important to know your numbers. If you know what those numbers are, then you know what your baseline is, and then you know how to start having those conversations with either a healthcare provider or nurse or what have you, so that you can start making the changes that's going to put you on the path to better health. And then, of course, we want to make physical activity more accessible. We know that it can be costly for some individuals to go and have a rec membership or drive to a rec center. So we want to improve our green spaces, provide opportunities for you to get out in your community and exercise right in your backyard if that's even possible in some cases. As I mentioned, we're addressing good nutrition with our mobile market, and it visits food insecure communities weekly to deliver affordable, healthy foods to to residents. And as I mentioned, it's right outside, and I hope you'll be able to get an opportunity to go out there and look at it and even shop the mobile market. But we've been able to serve more than 2,000 customers in 25 communities, and over 60% of those sales are federally funded programs, and 40% of those sales are produce. So you see, already we're beginning to move the needle just a little bit by providing fresh produce in areas. Preventative wellness, we also have a mobile wellness van. We're so very excited about this. Again, we're about helping to overcome barriers, transportation. We're bringing mobile wellness services to you. And so we've been able to leverage partnerships with AQUAF, Viva, and Live Health Smart launched the mobile wellness van in January of 2022. And again, we bring comprehensive health screenings at no cost to communities that need them most. And since we've been doing that, we've noticed that 80% of individuals that have been screened have had an abnormal value. 15% had an undiagnosed chronic disease. 22 locations have provided wellness screenings, and over 1,000 people have been serviced to date. And that's huge because we are, during our mobile market visits, as I mentioned, able to connect residents with primary care providers so that you can start to take charge of your health, know what your number is, and get into a routine of making those well visits with your doctor. We also have community coaches. You may have seen them in your communities walking around encouraging you to take advantage of the mobile market, of the mobile wellness van. These are trusted community lay residents, just like you, who may live next door to you, your neighbors. We learned, if nothing else, during COVID that we tend to value the messages from people we know most. And so we have engaged what we call community coaches. Some of your neighbors educated them so that they could learn about the Live Health Smart Alabama way and find little secrets or things, conversation starters to be able to encourage you to take advantage of the mobile wellness van and as well as the mobile market. And so their goal ultimately is to deploy individuals to connect with members of the community and actively reduce barriers to making healthy choices and achieving better health statuses. And so that's Live Health Smart Alabama in a nutshell. There's so much more that we're hoping to accomplish, and hopefully throughout the course of this conversation that we have with you, we'll be able to hear some of your ideas, some of your most pressing issues and concerns, and those barriers that are keeping you from living your best health, and talk together about how we can find solutions to those barriers. Thank you so very much.
My name is Trish Hoover, and I'm with United Way of Central Alabama. And I'm really excited about what I'm hearing here because the more I hear, the more I see how your United Way can help. So our mission, is just perfect, to increase the organized capacity of people to care for one another and to improve the community. Organizers. So we're going to get it done. I wanted to let you know just about United Way. Aside from the fact that we raise money each year to give to over 80 different partner agencies, those are all agencies in Jefferson County. And so we have a lot of resources we can bring from the table. Anyone ever taken advantage of the services at Children's Hospital? Anybody in your family? Yeah? Anybody know any Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts? The YW or the YMCA? So there's lots of the American Red Cross. There's lots of resources that we can bring together to address the needs that are discussed today. But in addition to working with those 80 agencies across the community, United Way also provides direct services. In fact, last year, our programs that range from early childhood education to the Area Agency on Aging served 70,000 people. You may not know that the Jefferson County Area Agency on Aging is at United Way. And in that program alone, there are 12 programs, everything from assisting caregivers with free relief for caring for someone, supplies for adult diapers and things like that, everything including legal services to help with wills or estate or those kinds of things. It's all free and it's all available to you, and we hope to be able to make the connections to get it here. But one of the most exciting things in there is the Meals on Wheels program, and we're already serving residents of the Smithfield community, but we want to get the word out that it's available to anyone that qualifies, and really that means you're over the age of 60 or you're disabled. It's the only program that we offer at United Way that is not income dependent. So if you just need to have food brought to your home because you cannot leave your home, you're homebound, then you can get those services. But what we know is it doesn't end there, because a lot of the seniors that we serve say the only meal they eat in a single day is the meal that's brought to them by Meals on Wheels volunteer. And that is not okay. That's not enough food. So we have other partnerships and resources where we're getting supplemental groceries to people. And so we want to make sure those services are here. The other way that United Way works is working in a coalition manner to work together like we are here to solve complex problems. And I'm so excited to hear that this program is talking about streets, infrastructure, green spaces, health, education, quality of life, and taking care of our seniors. Is awesome. So the way we see United Way being involved in this project is in two ways. One is to provide those direct services in the areas of education, financial stability, housing, and access to services. By the way, 50,000 people last year called a 3-digit number at United Way to get access to services that are already available in our community. Anybody know what that number is? Yes, it's 211. It's amazing how many people do not know about that resource. But right now, we're helping people with all kinds of need. The primary need is for affordable housing and also emergency assistance, access to food and clothing and utility bills. That's a big issue. The other way that United Way will help is, like I talked about before, through agency collaboration. So you'll see a smattering of logos up here. There's Meals on Wheels, our financial stability, the Area Agency on Aging, our pre-K program. But United Way is also a place where people turn to in disaster. So we're always ready to respond when there's a natural disaster, those sorts of things. You see 211 up there. And we have a program that benefits veterans. So I heard what sounded like we were about to say cradle to cane. So what's wonderful is right here in your community already is a network of all these services that we want to make sure are here, that are available to you to serve your needs, whether you're a baby or all the way up to a senior who's no longer able to, leave their home. So thank you.
Hi, my name is Vicki Lundy Wilbon. I'm a principal of a firm by the name of the Integral Group, and I'm president of our real estate development operation. I'm standing here with Brandon Rule. You'll hear from both of us a bit more. But as I've sat here today and thought about this Choice Neighborhood Initiative and the pursuit of this grant, we will serve as the housing lead. And when you think about the beauty of the neighborhood, you've heard about what it brings, the people in this network of services that will wrap around each member of the community to help our children thrive, to help dreams be visioned and brought into reality to allow, the seniors to live their best life at this wonderful time of their life. So these wraparound services are extremely important in the programs. But we know environment matters. It matters greatly. So what we will do as the housing lead is really focus on the physical aspect, the sticks and the bricks, working closely with the other program leads and all of those stakeholders to bring about the housing that will have a mix of new rental housing, new homeownership opportunities, adaptive reuse of buildings to create the environment where everyone in the community can thrive. Integral has as its model these words: to create value in cities and to rebuild the fabric of communities. And Smithfield is a rich tapestry. And we want to continue to enhance that and create both the physical environment and all of those wraparound services to make it thrive. We, the Integral Group, have been in business first of the year, 30 years, 1993. We created in transforming and redeveloping the oldest public housing community in the country that's based in Atlanta, which is where we're headquarters, into using the Hope 6 program, a thriving new community called Centennial Place. And it wasn't just about building something for someone else. It was really creating community, and we put our heart in all of our developments of building a community where we would want to raise our families. To the point that for the principals, there's four principals, three of us bought homes in the community in Centennial. And we continue to build all of our communities in that same vein. So there's slides here. I'm going to be at the table, the housing table, with Rural Enterprise and other representatives. Please come and talk to us. We want to hear from you, what's important to you, what your heart's desires are, for not only for you, but for the children that you see playing the communities around every day. One of the other things that I'll say, you can see the maps. I'm not going to go through all of our history. We've built over 10,000 units. We have our property management division, so we're vertically integrated. We have over 200 acres of land that we are transforming in cities across the nation. But every community is special, everyone is different, and we bring our whole selves, and we look forward to working with Smithfield community. We develop multifamily housing and senior housing, mixed-use developments. So this is the work we do. We want to work with you to create a beautiful, vibrant community for all of you to live. Pictures of our team, diverse, robust, some of the best executives that you'll ever find in this business. But not only are we doing this work for 30 years in our communities, but we are purposed now to help budding developers that are coming up behind us that are focused on this community development work to grow and to reach their full potential and continue this work alongside us. And our partner in this development, you'll hear from Brandon Rule, one of the founding principals of the company, is a member of what we call Integral Collaborative. So what you'll have here are people who are very committed to doing this work and are excited about serving as your housing lead. But our first step is to win this grant. So let's work together to put together an outstanding application. Let's bring the money, and then we will start executing and implementing. So it's a pleasure to be here, and please come by the table to speak with not only the neighborhood and housing, our housing team, but also the people leads as well. So I introduce to you Brandon Rule.
Thank you for the intro, Vicki. I am also the housing partner. As mentioned, I'm a part of this Integral Collaborative that is really bringing up the next generation of developers. And for me, it's like, how do we reach back, right? They reach back to me. How do I reach back to the next generation? And I see this project as a vehicle to do so. We talk about choice, and the reality is we have been, because of Integral's prominent history and being successful at this award, we've been really recruited by a number of cities to be their housing partner. And we made a choice to be here. So I wanted to acknowledge that fact that, one, we believe in what we're doing here. We believe in everyone from Mayor Woodfin all the way across the board to his partners, community development, HABD, LRK, everyone is here. We made a choices here because of the people that are here. And to the housing piece, it's really our responsibility, in my opinion, to bring everything together in an inclusive way. So we'll be developing it, but we want to hear from you. there are many inner city communities. I come from a very similar community from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I think we represent people of color in emerging communities, right? We understand that well from a macro level. High level, a lot of them have a lot of the same issues. But from a micro level, we really need to talk to you to understand what exactly it is that this community needs and what we need to implement. So we encourage you all to come to the booth. We encourage you guys to talk to myself and Vicky. Patricia and Marcus are here with me today to listen really to you all. We didn't bring any presentation of what we want to do. We have ideas of what that can look like, but we want to hear from you all. If it's, we want, a place to be able to Uber pickup, or if you want locker stations like the Amazon lockers, whatever the case may be, really think about what can enhance your life and how we can bring that to fruition. And that's what we want to do here today. So look forward to meeting everyone right over in the corner. Thank you.
I'm Christy. I'm a project manager in our development department at the Housing Authority. So I am a face of the team that will be a part of this process. I think it's important for residents to understand you have part of our history. So our housing site, Park Place, we have our developers here that were a part of that process. So you have a neighborhood that's near Smithfield that you can utilize as an example of transformation. So if you want to think outside the box, you can kind of start there. I think Corey talked about it earlier. And so a part of what we need to focus on today is to hear your voice. We have all the slides in the presentation, and we're getting into what to expect. But more importantly, you all need to know that we're expecting to hear from you. I think I went to a couple of residents earlier, and they wanted help with how to fill out their forms. That's what we're here to do. We're not here to continue to talk about what we have skill sets. We need to work with you all to kind of see what you want in your community. So I don't want to really bore you with what to expect moving forward. I'll briefly highlight. So we built first strategy. Our goal is to do replacement housing. We won't really focus on relocating anyone in this process. Our developers will work with phasing of housing and housing options. They spoke about it earlier about homeownership opportunity. That's a little bit what could be afforded to some of you all in this process. So I think it was a gentleman earlier, he kept telling me, I just don't want to move. I said, make sure you put that on the board and put it 10 times if that's what you need to do. We want to make sure you say that over and over and our developers hear you, okay? If it is any relocation that will be a part of the process, it will more than likely be temporary. There are some things that will be offered to you residents regarding that, moving expenses, things of that sort, but our real focus is to keep you in your community, not just at Smithfield housing site. We're talking Smithfield community as a whole. So the blocks that your cousins live on, the blocks that your church members live on, those are the blocks that will be transformed. I think it's also important that sometimes the picture is painted for HABD that we don't care about our residents, and we do. There's case management that will happen throughout this process. Each resident and family will have a chance to have a family household assessment done carefully and vividly. We have all those people here. When they go back to their office spaces, they're going to remember these assessments. So talk them not to their dinner time, but talk to them about what you have already experienced living in your public housing site. So when we move forward, we understand more of what you want to say. I can't speak that or reiterate that enough. And so, like I said, I just briefly touched on what to expect moving forward, but it is key to understand that replacement housing is our goal. We will follow the URA, which is the Relocation Act, for residents that will temporarily be moved, but there's phases to this process. We're here to start the application process, and we want to engage with you all, okay? Get your snacks. If you have walking shoes, we'll have questions in a moment, but put on your walking shoes so you can be prepared to go to the different stations and engage. And so this is just a few pictures of something, a few projects we've done in the past. And here recently, we've done Villas at Titusville. That was our former Loveman Village. We had phases to that project. Not all of our residents moved at the same time. They had options to go to more mixed income communities in the Lakeshore area with Park at Sydney Drive. And then there were some that had the opportunity, they temporarily relocated and had the opportunity to come back to those other phases. And I would say that in our ribbon cutting ceremony, we talked to a lot of the residents. They were excited about their new balconies. They were excited about the green spaces. And they were excited about new opportunities that can come to their community. They didn't keep their mouth closed. So I just want to make sure you all understand the purpose of this meeting is not to go over and keep presenting to you all the formality, but it's really to hear your voice.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Danielle Lake. I am an architect and planner with LRK. Nando introduced us earlier. I get the sense you all are probably tired of hearing us talk at this point, right? And we really want to hear from you. So we had a little bit more to share, but I think we're going to wait. And now we're going to turn it into Q&A, so you guys can reach out to us, ask your questions, and then we can open up the room and come talk to us at each of the stations. Really quickly, we have a social media moment over here in the corner. We'd love to welcome you to come over here. Think about what your vision is for the neighborhood. What is your dream for Smithfield? What is the dream for your life, for your children, for your grandchildren? Come take a photo. It's a memento that you can take home with you. Come visit the housing station over here in the back. We have a neighborhood station where we can all gather around and look at a map and talk about what's happening in the neighborhood, what are possibilities that you see for the future, and then come visit all of our partners as part of the People Coalition here on the right side. So with that, I'm going to skip ahead to questions and open the floor.